please hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you know when we go live. Check us out over at patreon.com/workingfanspodcast. Somebody got themselves in a little bit of hot water this week. We're going to do a little contemporary talk because all the news I've been seeing is about Ricochet. What do you make of this situation?
Should have thought that through a little bit more. I remember seeing it before it even became news. Somebody had posted it just like on a Facebook thing.
Yeah.
And there is so much bullshit now that's posted on social media that people are making up headlines and stuff now that I have a hard time knowing what's real and not real, but this looked legit. And I just thought, because I knew Ricochet's, handle and everything. So I was like, ooh, that's fucked up. I'm like, I guess he's trying to play the heel, but I was like, man, probably not a great idea. But I didn't hear anything about it. And I was like, okay. But then I guess he fucking doubled down on it and left it up there for a little while. And sure enough, it became a problem. And yeah, just not well thought out. I don't know if it was Wrestling Observer, but they talked about it, like, if you like WWE or you like AEW, sometimes you want to say, well, one company does this better, and one of this company's all good, and this company's all good. And it's like, really, it's just they're different companies that do different things, better. And one of the things is it's great about AEW is typically most people would say is you get more freedom, but if you get more freedom, it's like, this is a classic example of like, you're screwing it up, don't do like this, because now you're putting a spotlight on just the negativity here, and it's not a great look only for you, it's a bad look for your company that you're trying to get over, that's trying to compete in that that space of market. So just use your head, and
because it's crazy. Like, on the one hand, it seems like such a small comment, but like it's pretty heavy, especially given the disease. And like I'm hearing rumors like he might get fired over it, which to me seems like an overreaction. It seems like one of those things that when you make a joke on social media, especially when it's typed out and people can't read into like meaning, that it's going to go one of two ways. It's either going to work for you or it's not. We could be living in a reality where this just goes over the head and he's playing a good heel, but it's like people are reacting bad. I kind of see it like, I have a cousin with MS, so it's like I'm trying to think like saying it's nothing is really dismissing it, because I see like how rough the disease can be on people. Yeah, it's one of those things like, don't take the chance. I just think like if you're looking at it like, this could go bad, like you could say anything else.
There was nothing to gain by it. It was an ignorant comment because, what are you thinking on the game? Like, ooh, I'm going to get that social media heel heat that's going to translate to the screen. Like, it's like, not really, bud. It's not going to do wonders for your career. It's just something that either A, was terribly thought out, or B, wasn't thought out at all. As personally as a guy, who's owned his own business and, worked with other people, like, I wouldn't want a comment like that representing, like something I'm associated with. Be like, hey, reel it back here, bro. Things happen. I know some people think that Chris Benoit, I know what you're thinking. Wrestling. But it's like, it's sometimes there's comments and it's like, man.
Well, think about too, like how FTR were like arguing with fans, and it's like you go to the very extreme case of like the Dudleys back in the day. Yeah. And it's like, I think once upon a time you could have gotten away with this. Nowadays, especially with, and I don't want to make it all about like being politically correct, but with that being on the rise a lot more, things like this aren't going to go as far as they used to, and they're going to have bigger ramifications. Do you see him losing his job over this, or does that seem too wild to you?
Nah, I don't think so. Only because there's been no real issues with him and stuff in the past, and it's more just a stupid comment. I think he lost the title, which may or may not was going to happen anyway. We don't know. Yeah. He's going to take some time off of TV for a while. How long? I don't know. Maybe he won't be back until after All In, you know what I mean? He could miss a few months out of this, but
given the way WBD is, though, like comments that Jay Briscoe made that kept him off TV, comments that Trey Miguel made that prevented him from joining, like, could there be an overreaction by WBD on this?
Kind of funny, right? This is where you find out like where you rank sometimes in the pecking order too, because there's some people who could get away with making certain comments that they would just get a slap on the wrist. And then there's others that are going to be, like, hey, you got to go.
Yeah, what makes this any different than anything like MJF could say?
Yeah, I'm sure MJF has probably done some crazy stuff.
We've heard him say some wild things
Wild
live.
stuff, yeah, like in the signings and stuff like that. I guess with MJF, the thing that he's always had going for him is that he's so talented at what he's doing, and he's pulling people in, and he's doing it usually at these, conventions or stuff like that. So that, he's entertaining the crowd, and people feel like they're a part of this show, I guess, with him, even though he's trying to push the envelope. So it is interesting.
You think it's the difference between live versus online? Like live, you can kind of see intention, or the fact that there is kind of a back and forth with a crowd.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's definitely a part of it. I think when you're doing something over social media, sometimes the interpretation is going to be just how people take it and how they're feeling, and then it can snowball from there. Whereas if you're live, you can kind of go, oh, this guy's definitely in character. This is what he's doing, And that's not to say that, some people might not take it, the wrong way, but I just feel like there's a difference, especially nowadays. Like when people want to like make a point or they want to do something, like they'll just say, oh, wow, I can't believe this guy said that. And then you'll read it and be like, yeah, that's from a storyline. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah, it's wrestling's good at blurring those lines, but sometimes it can come back to bite you.